Well, I blew up an account today. And in this video, I get to tell you all about how I did it. Let's dive in and talk about it. Well, the markets liked what Jay Powell talked about today, and we have continued to slowly grind higher. The first 10 EMA set up on the SPY was right here on January 9th, and we did have a beautiful double bottom of sorts. We broke above, we retested the neckline, and we have bounced since then. As I mentioned, I did blow up an account, and let's talk about what account I blew up. The good news is it was a funded account. Now, in the funded account, this is where we offer real life traders an opportunity to access large sums of capital that they can trade with to revolutionize their life. If you are not aware of this, please check out the capabilities and possibilities that are here because they can change your life. Just like they changed my girl, Yovaris. Check out her amazing family, and Yovaris is very happy to announce that she got funded. So she did indeed pass her audition account, and I thought that was an extremely exciting and amazing, incredible opportunity for someone who's put in so much time, energy, and effort into doing just that. Now, what's a great takeaway for me in the fund account is I did treat it like my normal trading account, and I can't quite do that yet. And here's why. This is a very good lesson for you now that you know what I did and you can avoid this overall mistake. I did start with a $500,000 account because why go small? And you'll notice that the current equity hard breach rule of my daily loss limit. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through some trades that I took, and I'm also gonna walk you through the overall trade markets and some setups out there. But first and foremost, you'll notice that it only hit 489,000. This is a $500,000 account. So hard breach rule being a daily loss limit of 4%. If you're doing the math, I was actually already up about $15,000, give or take, this time yesterday. What I learned today is that the hard breach rule for a daily loss limit is a 24-hour period, because I did take some trades last night on futures, and I did lose 2 hours before midnight last night during a futures trade. And then I went on to lose 1 hour on Tesla today. It was a bullish trade, and I did just kind of get wicked out. So here was the trade that I took on Tesla that I lost on. Let me just kind of back up for you really quick. So this was the setup here, and I bought off of this double bottom with a stop loss down there. And I did end up getting wicked out of that trade, and that was a 1 hour loss. So that represented a 3 hour loss on the day. So there's me getting stopped out right here. And then of course it just bounces and rallies. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take advantage of this S curve that I drew from my phone because I was driving to pick up my wife's mother, or my mother-in-law, from the airport. And so this S curve is one that I wanted to play in the account that would have, kept me from losing my hard loss limit on the day, but c'est la vie. That's all good. Great learning lesson. Then number 3 lesson that I learned is I had 2 open swing trades that were short. They were bearish. So it was Abbott Laboratories and it was Gilead Sciences, GILD. And both of these were 10 EMA setups. You can see the 10 EMA, like the bull candle closing below the 10. Both of these had a little bit of a bull spike at one point during the day. So those 2 swing trades, in addition, so each one was down about 0.5 Rs at one point. 0.5 Rs on Gilead plus 0.5 Rs on Abbott Laboratories plus the 1 hour loss from Tesla plus last night 2 Rs on futures equaled 4%. And you know what? Hey, team, honestly, I'm okay with this. This is a really, really good learning lesson. I would have loved, and I'm very, very thankful that I spent a lot less money than $11,000 to learn this lesson. Now, fun fact, I did actually make real money today. Here's a screenshot of a TOS account because I was net long overall on the markets. So you'll notice in the Thinkorswim account, I do have shares of Norwegian Cruise Lines. So Norwegian Cruise Lines had a 10 EMA candle right here from January 19th that I was buying the dip off of. So I am in that trade. I'm also in Carnival Cruise Lines, ticker symbol CCL. So I'm in net long on that. QS, so QuantumScape, I'm in long on that, as you'll notice. Beyond Meat, also in that list, and that's a stock that I'm also in long on. Now, you might be wondering, well, Newsom, if you're long on these in your real account, how come you didn't take them in your funded account? Great question. These symbols were not available to trade in the funded account. So I did have to take some other trades that were not the official trades, thankfully, that everyone else is in and everyone else is benefiting from, because all of these are bullish trades that we're up on for the most part nicely. And I learned one other really, really cool, valuable lesson when I figured out that those symbols are not on there. I did comprise an entire list of just 8 cap symbols. So that is another thing that I did, is now I have a ginormous list of the exact stocks that are available. So when I do some of my official swing trades, I'll make sure to use some of these stocks in there next time. So what I'm going to be doing is reapplying for another funded account for a $500,000 account, and I'm going to do it next week. And then I'm going to create a list of rules just for this funded account, because in my normal account, I can have a 4% variant swing intraday, right? There's no exact hard cutoff for exactly 4%, even though I did have a long trade that was also cooking in this setup. Because I lost 4% in a 24-hour period, I got kicked out. All good, but let me learn this mistake for you so going forward, you can prevent it. Now, that being the case, I did mention that AMD was likely going to gap up on earnings, and it did. And I also mentioned that it would need to get above 80 for it to be a really, really strong trade, which it did. This is the 200 simple moving average, which is the purple line, and AMD broke out, retested, and had a really, really nice move overall. So congratulations for anyone who got a chance to play AMD on the long side. I know my girl Tabitha did, and that was a fantastic trade for her. So shout outs to Tabitha. Very, very well done. Meta is gapping up right now hugely. I mean, hugely on earnings. So congratulations, Meta. This is just so, so, so nice. I thought yesterday that it was going to gap down due to the Snapchat thing, but it did not. So Meta is gapping up an immense amount, full on recovery from the lows down here. And that is a gorgeous, gorgeous move. So expecting the markets to open up a little bit tomorrow, because Meta is a huge, huge portion of the Qs, pretty substantial, honestly. And the fact that we're gapping up about 18% to me says that there's going to get a little bit more of a rally on some of the big technical names for the next 2 or 3 days. And then probably next week, we might begin to fade this gap a little bit. But this is a very strong gap on Meta that might not fill, ladies and gentlemen. We could trade down to 170 and some change, maybe a little bit lower, but this is a really, really strong gap. There's not actually any moving averages in the way on any time frame. So as crazy as it might sound, and as much hate as you might want to have on the metaverse or Zuckerberg, this gap is telling me that there's some love in this industry, and it's kind of coming back just a little bit. So that's extremely interesting. Here's Google. Google as well as gapping up with earnings. So again, most likely anticipating the overall market to be up a little bit tomorrow, which will allow me to lock in some of our bullish swing trades for a win or sell a call. So Google gapping up just a smidge as well. Tesla did continue higher today. So my analysis was correct. And again, if given the opportunity to make this trade, I do believe I would have been able to catch the later in the afternoon move on the upside. But Tesla, likely at this stage, team, this is a little bit of a flag pattern, going to slowly continue higher. We'll have a small pullback tomorrow, most likely, and then just kind of continue up into the 195 and then eventually the 221, probably this month on Teslas. We slowly continue to cook up a little bit higher. So definitely a lot of opportunities out there. Roku making a really, really good move. Peloton up 26%. So Dash for Trash is in. Peloton with an absolutely superb gap, clearing all kinds of pivots. And this is one that I did mention you'd want to put on a strangle on, because you had a really, really good compressionary event in between the 100 200 simple moving average coming into earnings. So if you did put on that strangle on Peloton, you are up relatively nicely. So that's a beautiful, beautiful move. So anyway, it seems like the overall markets did like the 25 basis point increase. And at this stage, it looks like things are going to at more than likely slowly continue higher. Now, again, one candle can change everything, and maybe that candle comes in tomorrow. But at this present stage, just like I've been mentioning, I'm going to be leaning towards the bullishness. I'm going to be looking at more buying than selling overall, and just kind of staying long on some of our positions and most certainly some of our swing trades. Here's a list of some of the swing trades that a lot of us are in together. Tesla up, Square up, Alibaba up, Norwegian up, Carnival up, Shop up, Ross, we're actually bearish on it and we're break even right now. Rivian, we exited last week. GNS still in bullish. Keep a very, very close eye on this thing to break out. Polkadot in bullish, Q&T in bullish, QS in bullish, DraftKings in bullish, Wix in bullish, Beyond Meat in bullish. Most of those are bullish. And again, most of these on this list, Beyond Meat, Wix, DraftKings, QS, could not be traded in the funded account. Otherwise, I would have been in those long. But a very, very valuable lesson. 4% is a hard breach from a 24-hour period. And I next week will reformulate a new plan for my funded account, and I will share that plan with you all next week. Some of the stocks that I did have requested from me today were specifically this list right here. So we have Zoom. Here's my thoughts on Zoom. We had a very, very strong upper shadow 3 days ago. Bunch of bull candles in a row at this stage. I expect Zoom to make it up into the low 80s and then have a little bit of a dip. I think you can buy that dip off the 100, Kevin, and then let it slowly rise back up into the 200 simple, which is this prior resistance up here at approximately $87.45. So we'll look for this S curve to come in on Zoom. Just looked at Tesla. I think it's going to slowly continue higher up into the 100 simple on the daily. NQ, which is the NASDAQ ETF, bullish. And that's it. Strong bounce off the 200. Really nice move. Good double bottom. Buy dips. Let's stay long for right now and lock in profits. E-minis, same thing. Dow Jones, kind of the same thing. It's not quite as strong, but it's already made its move. That's the truth. We're bouncing off of, instead of the 200 simple on the weekly, it's the 100 simple on the weekly for the Dow Jones futures. So that's just something to keep in mind. Crude. So crude oil is getting spanked a little bit. But if you're looking at buying crude, you want to do it around 72. That's the 200 simple on a monthly chart. Keep in mind here on the daily, we're battling the 100 as a resistance. And what we're getting right now is a 10 EMA setup. This is a first bull candle closing below the 10, and we're breaking below this low. So I expect most likely a little bit of a pullback on crude into about 78.27, a trade down to 72 and some change, a consolidation around there, and then probably a bounce at that stage. So if you're looking at going long, that's really the spot that I would keep an eye on. And then last but not least was the request was Upstart Holdings. Upstart, I'm not in on this one at all, but you do have a really good 10 EMA play here on January 19th. Closing with that 10 EMA, getting a good squeeze higher. This one just got absolutely decimated in 2021 and 2022. Now we are nice and low, really, really far down here, and looking for this to trade higher eventually. Maybe just for a quick little push. I'm not expecting anything great. I don't know if this is going to recover or not. I don't know a lot about the fundamentals at all on Upstart, but the moving averages have crossed on a bullish perspective. And if it helps, Momo also went long on the 13th of January. So at this stage, the daily trend on a short-term and intermediate time frame is bullish. So you are able to be buying some dips and just plan on buying low, selling high, being quick in and out, and making your moves methodically. Ladies and gentlemen, that about sums it up for me today. I hope it was a good Wednesday for you. Even though I got kicked out of a funded account, I did win on the day profitably in my real account. It's all good. I'm going to learn some lessons. I'm going to create a plan that I will stick to rigidly with extreme discipline. And I am very excited to see what we can all do together and how we can continue to grow and enrich lives. Once again, shout outs to my girl Yavaris for passing her funded account, getting 16 Rs last month, and now trading with a live $100,000 account. If you want to be like Yavaris and numerous other traders who have completed this quest, who have gotten funded, who have another large sum of money to actively trade the markets with, going long crypto, short crypto, futures, Forex, stocks, some stocks, feel free to check out our funded account program and the opportunities that are there. Ladies and gentlemen, you rock. I will see you later this week. And until next time, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye. Bam. That was your Wednesday real life stock review. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I really appreciate you helping us with our mission, which is to enrich lives.